All right, here we go. Another round of Sisters Uncensored. We don't really know what's going to come out of our mouths today, so just brace yourself because anything can happen. We're just going to give us a personal story that she endured during all of this rioting, looting, silent protesting, and everything that's been going on with the last couple of weeks in regards to how George Floyd has come to the end of his life. So we're going to leave the floor to Gwen. We're not going to try to not interrupt, but just be here for you for moral support as your sister.
Okay. Well, like you said, in the midst of George Floyd losing his life, there's been a lot of protests around the world, and anybody black knows how much discrimination and racism that we face, that we've been facing since we've been brought over to this land. However, focusing on the police brutality that's been going on, you know, it's a situation that's hard to deal with, to see someone's loved one being treated the way that our Black sisters and brothers have been treated. So this is the reason we've been protesting. We're not asking for any charity. We're not asking for any handouts. We're asking to be treated fairly. We're asking to be treated as a human being. So I am a person who believes in fighting for a cause that's right, fighting for a purpose. But what I don't agree with, and a lot of people will probably say, they would probably won't agree with me, but I don't agree with the rioting. I understand people are angry. I'm angry as well. But the rioting kind of takes away from the message. And also, well, I was in one of the stores that was rioting, that got rioted and looted, and my coworkers and myself were in fear of our lives. We didn't know who these people were that were rioting. We couldn't see whether they were Black, white, Chinese, or whatever. But for them to come in and to break into the store and to cause damage to the place that we work at, of course, the store has insurance. Those things can be replaced. However, lives can't be replaced. And it was a traumatic situation that I'm still trying to deal with to this day. And when you're doing that type of damage to your own neighborhood, like you're causing trauma to your own people. Like when you're finished rioting and you wake up the next morning and you see the destruction, that does a lot to your psyche. And also, you have to think about, there's people out here that have kids, it's elderly people. Where are you going to go to the store if the stores are burnt down? You can't get to the grocery store. We're already in a pandemic as it is, and it's hard to get supplies, you know, to, I mean, just live your daily life. So I don't even know how to put this in perspective, because I do still support the cause, I still support the movement, but I don't support the violence. That's what I have a hard time dealing with, is the violence. When you come in a person's place of business and you terrorize them, how do you come back from that? So that's basically what I just wanted to say.
I think that there has to be something done within our community to make us feel like we have the same trust and the same backing that the police have, because the police have their own code of blue. So even Black police officers are still seeing the side of that police officer. So we need to come together and have that same kind of, you know, jointness of, no, we're going to stand up, no, we're going to fight, no, we're going to push back. And you can see both sides of it. So like she said, I know some people are not going to agree with us or whatever, and that's fine. Everybody has to come and look at this from their own perspective. But what I would want to say is that when you're out there and you're looting and you're destroying properties, you have to think about, okay, this traumatic event happened with George dying, but now you're perpetuating that trauma onto other people. And that is what you should not want to do in this crisis, because you need to help all of those people. And if we start losing people not only to the pandemic, but now we're losing people to trauma from all of this hash of what happened with George, now you're losing more people that could be in the fight with you to help you and to guide you and to push you forward more. So just think about that when you're out there looting and you're vandalizing. You're perpetuating that trauma. It may not be a death trauma, but it's still a trauma onto someone else. And that serves no purpose in life or in our community.
I agree. Nicely said.
Very nicely said.
Yes.
And I'm very, very sorry that you had to go through that you had to experience that. And all I can say is that hopefully we can take it and reshape it into something more positive for us. We can use it as a stepping stone to creating something newer and healthier and better for not only ourselves, but for our individual families, for our collective families, and for our communities, to say, you know, we don't want to just accept what you give us. We're putting our stamp on, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is what we want now.
And we want better. And we can say we want to change, but I still have to say we have to make that change as of people. We have to come together and make a change. No one's going to give us anything. We can't continue to sit and wait for a handout. You have to come at them at a different angle, the way that they see things. And the only really way you can get to the other people, and those other people can be whoever you think, is by education and money. Those are the two languages that they know. And if we don't have that, we would never get what we're trying to get, because it's their education and it's their money, and those are their bottom line. And that's what they see.
That's true too.
That is what they see. But, you know, on the other hand, you do have a lot of educated people out there, and you do have a lot of people with money. But even like some elected officials, they come to the table with ideas, proposals, and just things that would work for the community that they live in. And I'm saying this from experience, because I know a few people that are involved and that have positions in the office, and their biggest thing is that whenever they have ideas, the ideas get swept under the rug. You know, a lot of people of color get put in office. You know, they say vote for who you want to put in there. Yeah, we go out there and vote, and these people get elected. However, once they get in office, they, you know, they make promises, and then they get in office and they don't live up to the promises that they're making. You know, they don't keep the promises that they've been putting out there. They don't really live up to their word, and they just sweep stuff under the rug, you know, just following the norm instead of helping the communities the way they're supposed to help, you know. And it's like it's only a handful of people out there that's actually doing something. And you know, just like when Obama was in office, every idea that he had to help the country,
it was met with opposition, right? Nobody ever wanted to support any of his ideas.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then, you know, you have that going on in local offices as well. So, you know,
But there always got to be a workaround, and that's what I'm saying. Even if we have those people in positions, I think even if you just really look at it, we got lazy. Obama was in office, but none of us took charge and said, okay, all of his ideas are getting vetoed or swept under the rug. But we still can make a small change in our community. Yeah, there are a lot of Black people with education and with the money, but how many of them actually come back to their neighborhood, to their community, and help rebuild?
Right, you're right about that.
They're not coming back, having youth groups, having youth centers. When the YWMCA was in crisis, nobody stepped up and said, let's give this organization funds to keep the kids off the streets. They just closed those doors. So right. That's what I'm saying. We can. There is a workaround to anything, and we just can't wait for the president to say, okay, we're going to give you. That's right. For them to give us something. We have to come forth and make something.
Right.
There's a lot of us that do have the money, but where are we spending that money? Buying 15 cars, you only can drive one. So you don't need 15 cars. You don't need to have 3 women. You don't need to make, I mean, it's other things you can do with your money that would make a difference in the community. You can go buy some land and build some affordable housing. I'm not saying you got to give them to us free. You can sell them at affordable housing. Therefore, your people will have a decent neighborhood to raise their family. Go back to your hometown and rebuild your hometown. Not just step out and say, oh, I'm out of that situation. I'm not going to worry about it. Because then when something like this come up and you show up, but then I look at it, where have you been?
Exactly. I
forgot you were trying to be in Tibet. They don't want you in Tibet. So it is. We have to look at us, and we have to look at the people we idolize. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but when they even when they do their concerts, and you selling your people a concert ticket at $250, you know, some of us, that's their week's pay. That's too much. So it is some that our people need to look back and say, you know what, I need to redirect in how I help my people, because we could be a lot further than what we are.
You're right about that.
But people get to a certain spot and it gets all about them, and they forget where they came from and what their struggles were to get where they have to go. And it's not just about you, because the bottom line, you are still the race that's checked on your birth certificate.
Exactly.
Very true. Very true.
And you also have to keep in mind when you may say when a lot of people, when they have made it, they're going by a different agenda now. So they're not going by the agenda where they came from, where they raised from, where their moral beliefs anymore. They're in a whole nother ball game. So that's another thing people don't talk about. And then where you also missing the point, where's the spirituality in all of this?
Exactly.
let's take it from the beginning. This is why we're in this situation. Nobody wants to say this was predicted on us, on our lives as Black people, because I really don't like to take it in a religious perspective, but sometimes you have to, because like I say, where's the spirituality in this? And this, if we don't get this under control, this is never going to change, because out of 400 years, keep in mind, 400 plus years, we're never going anywhere if we don't get these things together to repent, to say, I'm sorry for our ancestors, our forefathers and sisters, way before us came. They did the same thing. They was marching. They took the they took the majority of the abuse. We're getting some of it, but we're not going through half of what they went through. So we have to repent. We have to change our wicked ways, because we're going to constantly say what they doing to us, what they're doing, can you help us? Can you stop doing this to us? Can you stop beating us? Can you stop? Can you stop? They're not going to stop, because the Most High predicted this would happen to us, because we disobey him. And if you want to take it, let's take it spiritual. All you have to do is read Deuteronomy 28. And that's the blessings and the curses that was going to be put on us as a people. And they're not going to stop, because he said nobody can change you. Nobody can stop them. So we can pray, we can cry, and no disrespect to what happened, because this is not good. Keep in mind, this is not the first time this happened. This is not going to be the last time this happened.
Right.
But it's sad what happened to George. You know, it is so sad, and our hearts go out to him. But we know this is not going to stop, because we have to stop doing this to each other. We have to start giving him the honor and the praise and the glory, and say, now we want it to stop, but we have to get it together. We really have to start with us and ask him to please help us. That's the only way he's going to come and help us, the way they had cried out so many years before us. And that's when the Most High, this is bigger than us. People, we need to stop.